Hey, this is Penny, and with me,
I am Francis.
thank you for tuning into our podcast.
Outsourcing and more.
And just like that, we're on episode 2.
We are on episode 2. And today,
We're going to talk about something that every business needs to consider.
embracing outsourcing.
Yes.
Well, we tell them that they should
Yeah.
they should consider that. I mean, that's what we do. That's what we evangelize. Companies are there for a reason. They
Yeah.
specialize in one thing. Penny, we always say this to people that we talk to, but the question is, why should companies embrace outsourcing?
I think let's start off with why our clients actually go to us to outsource. What are the common reasons that they go to us?
Well, one of the biggest reasons why people come to us for outsourcing, and this is not just, you know, this is word of mouth.
Yes.
We've always said, our business has lived the past 4 5 years,
Almost 5.
almost five
Yeah.
years.
Good job to us.
Oh my god, got the book. But we have always lived in, it's a word of mouth thing that reaches other companies who say, we like what you did for the company who referred you to us. We have a business. We know how to run the core of it, but we need your expertise in this particular process.
Yes.
So, when people see, also I guess it's one thing to point out that when people say outsourcing in the Philippines, it's very different. People think it's call centers,
Yeah.
and
It's primarily call centers. You hire people, they
and
do
they go,
repetitive stuff
and they
and
go
like,
on the
yeah.
phone
Yeah.
but it's so much more
So
than
much
that.
more. So much more.
So much more.
Yeah.
Say
Well,
so much more one more time.
so much more. But for businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right, the reason why, our clients go to us is, as you mentioned, they already know their core competency, which is, well, most of our clients are actually tech companies. Their core competency is developing these apps, these amazing apps.
Products that change the world.
Yeah. But there are certain tasks or areas in the business that they need to outsource or they don't know the ins and outs of.
Or, yeah, man, talking about money, sometimes it costs too much for them
Yes.
to for them to maintain
Yes.
upkeep on their own.
Yes.
So
And that includes also not just the money, not just not knowing the ins and outs of it, but also managing that part of the business.
managing that part of the business.
Yeah.
So it either costs too much, or they don't know enough
Mm-hmm.
how to handle that, or maybe they would like to try a different business model that has worked for a company that they know of.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we'll be diving in. I feel like we went through like the very high points of it
Yes.
already, but we're going to keep coming back to why is outsourcing a good thing? And would you believe that up until this time, we have run into to companies, potential clients who have never tried outsourcing before.
Yeah.
As a method of as a strategy.
Yes.
And for me, that kind of blows my mind. I mean, at this point, shouldn't every company at least outsource once? I mean, we're an outsourcing company. We've outsourced
Yes, we've also
certain
outsourced
parts of our
certain
business.
parts
Like,
of
if you
business.
don't know how to do something, get somebody who can do it
Actually
better
knows,
than
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's just plain too many benefits to to looking at it. It's, I mean, what the from its highest points, what do you see are the benefits of outsourcing?
Well, we kind of touched on it already.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're going to put it in bullet points, number one, for example,
Well, it's a way to extend your business and extend the budget of your business
Mm-hmm.
because when you do outsource, you are, well, and then you're getting also highly skilled people in that area of the business rather than hiring people in onshore staff, training them for the specific part of the business, and then managing your staff. When you're doing outsourcing, you have someone who's going to be your partner, right? Partner in hiring and finding you the right people to do this specific area that you're outsourcing for. Because it's not just customer support. Let's be firm with that. It's not just customer support. You can outsource any part of your business.
It could be infrastructure. It could be IT. It could
Yes.
be accounting. It could
Yes.
be HR,
Marketing.
marketing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, it's really not just customer service. I mean, a lot of people were like, outsourcing isn't that call center. You know, isn't
Yeah.
that like taking to the phones? But it's again, it's so much more than that. I mean, if you think of like those new apps like teleconsult, like
Mm.
you can talk to a doctor over the phone. That's
Yes.
actually an example of outsourcing like a certain part of your business. Like little do you know that like in other countries in the US, there's companies who pull together those talents,
Mm. Yeah.
and not to mention that you can pull the talents like in their country, but at the
Yes.
same time pull talents from who are specializing in certain diseases. But hiring agencies, for people who don't know, there's like an entire business of people who are just concentrated on hiring processes.
Yes.
Although I was gonna say, like, I asked you to bullet point it.
Mm.
Um, and this is going to also be a shout out if you're listening, if you're watching. I'm gonna say hi to our good friend Pam of Scale Experts. She introduced us to the term scalability,
Yes.
and as much as I love, because you practically patented the term, but uh, outsourcing is really about scalability. Like for
Yes.
businesses who sometimes it's hard to hire for to an individual or a team if you might not need them long term. You might need them now,
Yeah.
but you might not need them in the long run. And for companies, there's a lot of consideration when you take a certain budget from your company and say
Yeah.
we're gonna hire for this company. Usually the intention is to hire them long term.
Yeah.
You can't
Long
just
term.
say we'll hire you for 6 months. So it places a lot of conundrum for a company to say, do we really need this resource? That makes it harder for companies to decide to hire. It might take them
Mm.
longer because the
Yes.
consideration, approvals for budget.
Mm.
Whereas if you say, okay, we need this particular project, we might need it for 6 months, 12 months, we don't know yet. Let's turn to a company who can provide us that resource right away.
Yes. Agree.
Minimal onboarding, maybe minimal onboarding. They already know what they're doing, and they can they have a clean exit path.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's fine because that's the nature of our business. Outsourcing says, we need you for 3 months, then we'll fill, uh, we'll fill your requirements for 6 months. So I mean that leads to uh, scalability isn't just going up; it's scaling up or down as quickly as they need to.
Yes.
And for a lot of companies, again, if it's a new need, that becomes the problem because oftentimes you don't have the resources to manage that whole process.
And come up with the processes to be able to have, all of these things done.
Yeah.
You have to think about it. It's not just hiring someone. I mean, even if when you're hiring someone, there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot that goes into it. The hiring, what are they responsible for? How are you going to onboard them? And then there's also the topic of keeping the employee engaged because they're your staff. With outsourcing, you as I mentioned, you have this partner who will do that for you and keep your employee or contractor
Yeah.
engaged in your company.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times companies think that outsourcing is probably would cost them more, but little do they see you know the things that we invest in
Yes.
to make it easy for them to just
Yes.
like say, I need, and we're
Yes.
like,
Genie.
you're like, your wish is my
My
command.
command.
Yes, here,
Yeah.
agent. Poof.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. It takes a
Yes.
lot to make sure that we can do something like that in as little as 1 week. Because
Yeah.
we're keeping hiring pools updated. We're keeping we're keeping people interested. Like we reach out to them to say you didn't qualify for a project maybe, but we like your skills. We'll keep you posted if something comes
Yeah.
up. and that's a lot of our own internal investment. So
Yes.
see, I think there's also a difference between people thinking that outsourcing agencies are like manpower services. I think there's a difference. We're not providing manpower and then just like, you know,
Letting them be. Here you go.
yeah, here you go. Good luck.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh, it didn't work out. Okay, we'll give you another one. No, it's
warranty.
sorry, we were
That's an
talking.
internal
Yeah.
joke. We had
And
somebody come up to us and say, if it doesn't work out, they have a warranty for the agent that we got.
she probably meant guaranteed.
Sure,
Right, yeah.
man, guarantee. And, in a way, maybe warranty is fitting. It just feels weird to
Yeah.
to put that into a person, to
Yes.
put that as a label on a person, like 6 months warranty, 7 days replacement.
Anyway,
I'm having way
that's
I'm
a
having way
potential
too much
client
fun
you're
with this.
talking about, right? anyway, yeah, I get what you mean about scalability and being, having these people be available to you to do your project or your campaign for the amount of time that you need them, right? I think also with outsourcing, as business owners, there's a part of it where you kind of also have to know where your strengths lie,
Yeah.
right? And so I know that if I were to do, let's say, marketing, it'll take me a year. Maybe not even a year because people go to college for marketing, but it'll take me a long time to know the ins and outs of doing email newsletters or social media, right? I mean, social media, you would think that it's easy, but it's really not because there's a lot that goes into it as well.
Really? Isn't it just
Yeah.
like posting and
it. No,
adding
no.
photos? Yeah. Not until you see what goes into, creating a content calendar.
Yeah, and
It's a
making sure
funny
that
thing.
that it's effective.
Yeah.
Because if
Are
you're
we?
if you're trying to learn it yourself and you're doing it yourself, there's a steep learning curve that you have to be able to make it effective. I mean, there
There's
are
a
smart
reason.
people, but
There's a reason why it's an entire career, social media
yeah,
management is. And it's just funny. And of course, we're talking about why companies should embrace outsourcing.
outsourcing.
We're obviously talking to companies and businesses or even individuals, solopreneurs,
Yeah, solopreneurs.
who haven't done that before. And you might be under the mindset that if we want to do something, it's probably going to be cheaper if we just do it ourselves. Let's
Yeah,
train one of
but
the
really
interns to do
not.
social media. But, like a lot of people would really find out, at the end of the day,
It'll look it does it seems cheaper but really not because you're actually putting in money
yeah,
to
by
do the
that,
social. Yeah, by the time that that it's going to be effective and it's going to have ROI or it's going to take you a long time as opposed to get outsourcing someone who does social media and knows how to make it work,
the ins
right?
and outs, who lives, breathes, and eats
Yeah.
social media for breakfast, you'll see a marked difference. And
Yeah.
you just have to go back. I think I just jumped on social media because it's one of the easiest to
Yeah.
sort of
Relate to and
yeah, I mean,
because every business needs
what
it.
people get paid to post photos
Yeah.
and write captions. Try writing captions every single day, maybe 3 times a day, and keep your community engaged. Answer every message that comes in on Facebook, inquiries that frankly, you as a business owner or a high level executive in your company, you don't really have time for that.
Yeah.
That's
So
technically it's grunt work.
outsource, right?
Yeah.
Try to outsource it. What else do our
Well,
clients? Yeah, go
I,
ahead.
I was gonna say, I thought you were about to jump into it. One of my bullet points says budget, and
Yeah,
it's an interesting topic when budget is brought up, even amongst freelancers, other outsourcing agencies, because for some, and sometimes a point of contention is that budget means you get it cheaper when you
yeah,
outsource it, and surprise, surprise, it's not always the case. When you outsource, the idea is to either get the resources or the skills that you need that you don't necessarily have.
Have, yeah.
Budget does come into play. I
Yeah.
will be very honest about it. A lot of our clients are working under the assumption that instead of hiring somebody locally, which costs
Yeah.
so much more, when they hire from the US.
Yes. It does come
No,
from
it
here.
does cost a lot of it. I saw how much. Go to. It's not a secret, guys. Go to
Glassdoor,
Door, go
salary.com, pay scale. Yeah.
salary.com. So we know exactly what what people are paying. And the thing is, it's not because the cost of living in the Philippines is low. You're trying to match the skill set that somebody has,
Yes.
but costs so much
Regardless of
more.
where they are.
Regardless of where they are. But I will allow a certain margin that, like if your business is in Chicago, I am from Chicago, baby. The same job will probably cost three times. It's probably more expensive in Chicago than another city in the U.S. And that's what you're really fighting for, that you can provide the same service for a lot less than you would pay in your actual area.
I think just to inject what I think about this, like for example, you say that you're getting, you're outsourcing this particular job, this particular the position, and you're paying, even if you pay them the same rate as you're paying onshore, the invisible thing there is if you're hiring onshore, you also have to think about their benefits.
Benefits.
You also think about how to keep them engaged and all those
A
perks.
career path.
Yeah, career path, career development. There's a lot of other things that actually do cost, right? Do cost more. And so even if you pay this outsourced person, the same salary as you would pay an onshore person, but then you're not gonna have to pay for it's not already included in that conversation about employee engagement, compensation and benefits.
Mandatory
It's not, yeah,
leaves.
because it's all included in that, in what you're paying them. Yes, people would say since you're in the Philippines, it's 70%
Cheaper
like
to
the
live. That's not
cost
exactly
living.
true. If you
Yeah,
live in the
no.
city, it can cost a lot too.
I think both of us are always like when we look at these studies by 5%.
Are you gonna say it? Don't say it.
No. A 5% family can live at X amount,
Oh my
and
God, I died.
and everyone around the
Like
world would read.
a family of four can live. What was that?
Yeah,
do
but
we have?
really,
Can we Google that
no.
right now?
No,
No.
no,
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 but it's that government study that says if you're a
Yeah.
family of four, you can live on as little as like what 200 pesos a day. Family of four.
family of four. I think that I don't know if my
So that's
numbers are right. 25,000 a month, which
Yeah.
is what? But no, not really. You're not. If you do pay your outsourced person, your contractor that much, you're not really giving them quality of life. To be completely
We're-
honest, you're just giving them the bare necessities, like very bare necessities.
Yeah. So I think this is a hot button topic
Yeah.
for us.
So we'll just discuss it
No.
in a different podcast episode, but
Well,
but
budget
we're-
should
yeah.
be its own topic. I agree.
Yes.
But in terms of like why companies should embrace outsourcing, I think we got a little bit away from ourselves. It ran
Sorry.
away from us. But truth of the matter is budget is a consideration. And while there would be companies that would say, inevitably outsourcing can be a great motivator if you get to pay even a fraction less than what you're paying right at that you know compared to hiring locally,
Yes.
right? But again, it ties into how quickly can you scale that person. Are you
Yes.
getting a person who's trained? And I've seen companies who hire and typically when you're outsourcing, you're really outsourcing the gruntest of the grunt work, like tier 1 level customer support, administrative jobs.
Yes.
And I've seen companies whose goal is to hire potentially higher skilled
Yeah.
individuals
We've seen this.
we
Yeah.
have seen
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand.
Like tech companies would outsource their
Yeah,
developers.
people who,
Yeah.
no, I mean not just that. Like for example, customer support, they would hire people who graduated from code camp.
Oh yeah, so that they have kind of an understanding
Yeah,
of yeah.
but of course the idea is for this person who got hired because he had, he went through code camp, is to become one of their
That
developers
yeah.
in the future. But for now, since it's sort of like proving yourself, you'd go through the tier ones, like prove yourself and then join us. I guess is the idea. I've actually seen both the pros and cons of that. One of the biggest problems I had is that they don't really have the affinity to do the grunt work, because like they want to move away from it as soon as
Yeah.
possible. And is that a bad thing? No, of course,
No.
for that person that was his goal.
Yeah.
But for your company, how does it affect you to have somebody who might not be as willing to be married to that post, even for the time that you're there? Like firsthand, probably seen it. But well, there's that. And just wrapping it into that, you talk about it. It's a risk. Does it work? Maybe no. Um, I also want to talk about you know when you're talking about outsourcing an entire support arm, not support arm, an entire process.
Mm.
If you think about there's so much more. Like when you think about it, like when we started putting up
And more.
and more, it's so surprising how much goes into, like, we need customer support. And how startup companies work. You
Yeah.
actually start from like two people who are
Yeah.
who founder, co-founder, and then chief technology officer, and then sort of like build your way down.
Yes.
So a lot of times,
You're also doing the customer support and
no, you
taking
end
care.
up doing
Yes.
customer support.
Yeah.
But you start up, like, you have a customer success manager who's not really supposed to be answering, tier
Yeah,
one
I know.
tickets, but they end up doing that because, lo and behold, there's nobody
Doing it.
to do
It
it.
just has to be done.
Yeah.
And customer service, you can't get away from it. Because any business, customer service is really key. It could be your differentiator,
Yeah.
right? If you have good customer service, and that's also where you get what do you call this? The voice of the customer. But that's how
Vocum.
yeah, that's how it's called. So you like for example for tech companies who are startups, the customer service team, if they're very open to you about what they're hearing from customers, that's also going to shape what your app or your tech app is going to be.
Yeah.
So it's not just just doing customer support. It all loops back together to what your product is going to be and how successful it's going to be.
That's very true. I also realized you naturally gravitated to going to customer support because for those of
Yeah.
you, that is the core of our our own business.
Yes.
But again, going to the point where it's so much more than that. You talk about, say for example, like if you're a brand new company, a tech company, and you develop this great product, the things that naturally branch out, regarding the things that you need. So yeah, you're probably like a founder, co-founder, CTO, and then a couple of developers, and then boom, product is there. Again, we talked about support, but we
Yeah.
also have like a social media team.
Yes.
Because what's the fastest? I mean, obviously, I think the world has literally accepted that the only way for you now to grow at an accelerated rate is to have, a very competent social media team.
Yeah.
Right. So, again, why bother trying to figure it out yourself? Like, oh yes, you know your product, but do you have the aptitude to consistently post or grow your social media following? And that's again, going back to, if you know somebody who knows exactly how to do it, they have a formula for doing it.
Yes.
Let them do it, and then
Let them take over. I mean, of course, when I say that you let them take over, of course, you're going to have regular meetings with them, not just let them be.
a direction.
Yeah.
There's a direction to it.
Yeah.
Um,
So, just to round it off, why should businesses embrace outsourcing?
To round it off, simply because outsourcing is, if you take away the word outsourcing and say, like, what what the kids are saying these days, it's more like a collaboration. It's a partnership. It's not really about saying, let's get somebody from,
Yeah.
from another country. You're
Yeah.
you're looking for a strong, competent, independent.
Independent.
No, you're looking for strong, competent individuals who can partner with you. Now,
Yes.
again, a lot of times, if you are a company, you might not be able to afford to put up an entire department by yourself, and the next best thing is to be able to get those services at, you know, again, it might not be at a lower cost. It per person, it might be costlier, but the entire setup is going to leave you in better hands.
Yes.
It's not, you don't have to train your recruitment to hire for that person, and not have to go through the bumps and scrapes of like, do you know how to hire for that
Yes.
particular talent?
Exactly.
Do you
Yeah.
understand what
What
is
is needed?
needed?
Yeah.
So even if you hire somebody who actually might know, like, if I say, for example, if I'm customer service, there's still always like, what is the goal? What do you need to do? Am I the right customer service person for the job?
Yes.
Because some people are like customer service, but more driven towards sales. Customer service is more driven towards non-sales. So if you're somebody who's looking for one and not the other, you could easily make the mistake because you look at a resume and you see 5 years worth of all of this customer service jobs, and like in the beginning we've made that mistake before. It doesn't mean that you have a lot of customer service, doesn't mean that you can do what your particular client is
Yes.
looking for.
Yes.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I just like word
Yeah.
vomited.
That's fine. And I think just to also go back to what you said earlier about scalability, it offers you, outsourcing will offer you that flexibility, right? If you need this person just for 6 months, then that's fine, and run this campaign. And, because in business, especially for startups, you're experimenting like constantly.
Constantly
And so,
finding the right
yeah,
formula.
formula, yeah, and learning through experimenting your campaigns
Yeah.
or whatnot. So outsourcing those things will offer you that flexibility of knowing, okay, this is working, let's go with
Yeah.
a campaign, or this isn't working, what can we do, and then stop it for a while. So it does offer you that flexibility.
And you can literally try entire teams.
Yes.
Like, 30-day money back guarantee for like 5 people to run entire campaigns.
Yeah.
Warranty.
I just remembered, if you remember, we were trying to partner with a client where they were going to pilot this program for their clients.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
going to pilot it with us, just so, and it's revenue generating for them as well, right? It's not just, they're getting people from us because it's also revenue generating for them, because they are offering this to their clients. Just a side note there. But what else?
That was a side note. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps with their adaptability.
Yeah, adaptability.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're, but not just a new business. I mean, especially if you're a business, you're a new business. But even if you're, say, for example, a typical corporate company, you have all of your processes inside. I, you know, I have friends who own companies, and then they say we need a new department. Okay, let's put up a new department,
Yeah.
and sometimes you get stuck because you hire a team, and then you kind of just find that you have to work with that person. If you're more keen to outsourcing, you're exposing yourself to different levels of talent.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, I'm not gonna say that we're the best. I'd like to believe that we're the best,
I
but
think that we always strive to be the best.
we strive to be the best, and you know it. but but what I would always encourage is that companies should always look for the right fit.
Yes.
It could
Right.
be one company, but you know, you might not be. Neither company could be at fault, but you might just find a better home with another team. Maybe you just have better rapport, or you just happen to like, their style of management, or their level of communication, or their level of engagement.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say something bad about one agency, but you just happen to like this one more. But that opportunity is only open to you if you're willing to try different teams. You know, like if you're a company who's focused more on a product, why not try hiring, uh, you know, like marketing teams,
Yes.
like two of them. You're like A/B testing.
A/B
You're
testing.
like A/B testing marketing teams running campaigns simultaneously. You'll never know until you open yourself up to it. That's why at this point I'm really very surprised that not more companies uh, are open to it. You know.
Mm.
So I guess I think I've said. I
As,
feel like
as
I'm
you
out
can
of
see,
breath.
we're very, very passionate about this because it's not just because it's our bread and butter, but we really believe that outsourcing, it's, if businesses will just embrace outsourcing, it's just going to open up your business. And we're really passionate about this.
So yes, open yourself up to outsourcing.
Yeah.
Spread those.
Yeah. So that's our episode 2. This has been Penny.
My name is Francis,
And
and
thank
thank you
you
for
for-
tuning in to
Yes.
Outsourcing and More. We'll
More.
see you on the next episode. Well, you'll hear us on your next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.